My premium collection predictions and hopes.
Take a look at who I am now. I'm stronger than ever. And if you ever doubted me, you should've known better.
Welcome to the Solemn Vanguard channel. Today we are discussing what I believe we may see in the Premium Collection. Now, if you don't know what this is, the Premium Collection is a booster with support for every single clan that is supported in V, at least. So no token Rambu. But so anything like Aqua Force, Grand Blue, Great Nature, Gear Chronicle, and so forth, all those clans are getting support, which is amazing. So all we know for now is the amount of cards in the set that we are getting support for every clan, and that there will be nation-based support. Now, if you're not up to speed with this, essentially back in the G era, we had cards called Xerath Dragons, which were generally strong finishers that could be used in decks of a nation instead of a clan. So Bermuda Triangle, Grand Blue, and Aqua Force all got the same dragon, Megiddo, and you could run it in any of these decks. These Xerath Dragons usually had some kind of effect that had something to do with all the clans of said nation. So this time around in the Premium Collection, we are also getting nation-based support like that. However, we don't know if it'll be Xerath Dragons or anything like that. I'll be going over the various things they could be doing in this booster right now, and the first thing we really need to be discussing is new strides. So obviously, when you think of a Premium Collection booster, you think, oh, we're getting some new strides. So what could these strides be doing? Obviously, we can't be going over every single clan separately, but one of the main things we can already assume is that we will be getting stronger first strides, because you see, Standard generally has been power creeping the early game, meaning if we look at a clan like Spike Brothers or a clan like Gold Paladin, they have very high quality early game cards, and so when we look at G cards in comparison, they are much weaker there. So we're already seeing a lot of decks in Premium that are literally a standard deck with a handful of G cards and then a G zone. So as Standard keeps power creeping the early game, we will get to this awkward point where sure, your early game is strong, and then your first stride is very weak, and then your second stride ends the game. Generally, second strides and third strides are very strong in Premium, obviously, because that's where all the support comes together, but the first stride is pretty weak in comparison, and so when you start comparing that with that insane power that we're seeing from Standard in the early game, it's just a pretty awkward spot. Not right now, but I can see it becoming really weird in like 24 months. So I think that's why the Premium Collection is being brought in. We will start seeing some more powerful first stride so that the power of the abilities you get to use goes up linearly as the game progresses. So it doesn't keep rising and then this awkward dip on first stride and then a big peak on second. Apart from that, we also just have many clans that have amazing second strides but just very mediocre first strides. We can look at stuff like Kagero, who has stuff like Ziegenberg, who has stuff like the Purge, all cool cards, but on first stride they just don't do much. Same for something like OTT with Ichikishima. Unless they G-guarded, their first stride is either okay a draw, that's pretty okay, or they have to go into the weird on-hit. Overall, just stronger first stride is something that's very welcome. Now the next thing, and that's probably the thing that's most on people's minds, is the new nation strides. As we can see on the box art, we see 6 dragons with very typical teams. It looks like those will be the nation strides, and I feel like they will not be finishers. Now, if you want to look at a lore perspective, some people have been saying that Messiah at one point created dragons to stop the Xerath Dragons, and that maybe these are those dragons and that they then just didn't end up releasing them. Now, I don't know if this is the case, but it would be really interesting how they are kind of like the counterbalance to the Xerath Dragons. Now, these days, the Xerath Dragons aren't actually all that strong. There's a few decks that use a few Xerath Dragons very well. For example, Gold Paladin with Ultima is very strong. Grand Blue with Megiddo is a solid finisher. Obviously, we have Mega Colony and Great Nature who can do a Zoa cheese win. But overall, most Xerath Dragons don't have a huge use in the large majority of decks. So it's not like they need a counterbalance at this point. It's not like they need a way to be stopped. On the other hand, they are still finishers and they do get rid of your G-Zone. So it'd be pretty weird if these new nation strides are also finishers that also get rid of your G-Zone. Because if they're blatant upgrades, then why would you be running the other ones? Unless, and this is what I'm really hoping for, I hope that these nation strides have a very different effect from the Xerath Dragons. Something something that fills a really cool niche situation so that they're a valuable addition to your G zone without being blatant upgrades from whatever you're already running. One of those things could be that they scale with GB. I already alluded to the fact that we need stronger first strides. Maybe these nation strides can be good first strides, and then you use them on GB1, they have a really cool effect, so this way you have a good first stride, but then if you use them on GB3, they're maybe even stronger. We can look at something like Belarel or Alexandros. They give more power the higher your face-up G-zone cards. So it could be really cool if these nation strides perhaps scaled with GB1, GB3, GB5 and so forth. Another thing some people have been saying, and it is really interesting, but I'm not sure how balanced this would end up being, is maybe these nation strides can create GB before grade 3. Now this is a can of worms that's being opened up when they go this far, because then the game will speed up a lot. But on the other hand, it would make it so G cards don't get power creeped in the early game as much as they do now by standard. Decks like Ezel may no longer be so threatening if we suddenly have access to certain GB cards earlier on. Now I didn't specifically test what happens when GB is turned live early, so I won't be discussing how balanced that really turns out, but it's just something interesting to think about. Finally, there seems to be one more slot for each clan. So this means we will have the nation strides, we will have what seems to be our regular strides for each clan, but then there's one more slot, and this could be a variety of things. For example, back in the day we had the Fighters collection. This was a booster box where every single clan got a stride and a G guard, or before that, a stride and a main deck card. So you had a clan like, for example, Great Nature that was utter trash at one point, and then one Fighters collection came out. The deck got 2 cards, which is a stride Cat Palug and a main deck card Mike Saburo, and suddenly the deck could compete again because those 2 cards were so good for the deck that it became a pretty solid pick. So just like that, it looks like the Premium Collection will be giving 2 cards to each clan. And so this second slot could be various things. The first thing we think about is G Guardians, of course. As we're seeing in Standard, heals have 20,000 shield, and most G Guardians only go up to 25,000 shield. So generally, G Guardians aren't as impactful as they used to be. Of course, they do still add to your GB count, meaning there's quite some value in G guarding, and some of them even have very powerful skills. But for the most part, they are being power creeped a little bit. Or, well, not power creeped, maybe you should say shield or guard creeped. Oh well. So perhaps here we will start seeing stronger G guards with higher shield values or very interesting effects. One thing that would be absolutely beautiful but could also be very busted is if Grand Blue got a G guard that says, when placed on G, call a card from drop zone to R. This would open up so many interactions on your opponent's turn and would make the game much more skillful, but it might also be very strong for Grand Blue, so I'm not sure how balanced that really is, but it's something to think about. If we get new G guards, they either have to have way more shield or bring some interesting interaction so that they can fulfill a niche that a regular heal doesn't already do. Now, if it's not G guards and we just get some main deck cards, some people also believe we may see grade 3s with an imaginary gift that holds the name of the original G archetypes. For example, if we look at a deck like Gear Chronicle, ZTB specifically, we have cards like Cruising Dragon, which are very strong but require a Chrono Jet Vanguard. So what if we suddenly saw a Chrono Jet Vanguard that also gives force markers? What if we saw a Tavas Vanguard that also creates an Excel circle? Now, I don't know if this is something Bushi would want to do in this booster or just eventually get to it in regular standard boosters. For example, maybe Wave 3 of Aquaforce support could have Tavas names. Wave 3 of Pale Moon support could have Harry as your grade 3. But on the other hand, if they don't want to do that and they already want to give a big boost to all kinds of G decks, a way to do it would be adding grade 3s with gifts with the correct name. So cards like Cutie Paratrooper, Shipra and so forth can turn live even when you don't stride something with the correct name. This would also make it so that decks who currently have a grade 3 that gives a gift but only has act skills, meaning when you stride over them you lose all skills and it basically becomes a vanilla body that just gave you a gift. Maybe we could add some interesting on-stride skills. This way no clan gets cucked by having act skills in their standard support. Those were basically my quick thoughts for what we could be seeing in the Premium Collection. If they do something completely different, that would be very, very exciting, because honestly, like, they could get very creative. There are so many ways they can design this set. I'm really looking forward to what they do. Interestingly enough, this Premium Collection actually comes out one day before BCS Cardiff. So there will be a Springfest where the meta shifted in 24 hours, and a lot. Because since this supports every single clan with potentially very, very strong cards, we could see the meta just turning around, doing a complete 180 overnight. And I'm actually very interested to see that. It could bring a lot of deck building creativity, which we're already seeing a lot of in Premium, but just even more. So that's gonna be very exciting to watch. I hope you're excited as well. Hope you found this video interesting. If you did, please subscribe to this channel, the Solemn Vanguard channel. Like the video if you liked the video, and let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Really do so. I will read them. I am so interested in what people think we will see in this set, and I will see you soon. Ciao.